COVID switched my introvert on, like completely.
She is alive and she be out here hula dancing.
Baby.
I said, baby, you got to put drawers on. She said, why? Why? I said, I don't know. Yeah. Welcome to Lovely Esteem. I'm Lovely, the auntie you always wanted, the sister girlfriend you didn't know you needed, honey. You got to have self-love to have self-esteem. And here we know that God don't make no junk. So we're going to sit down, talk about it, and see how we can fix it, baby. Let's do it. Hey guys, this is Lovely with Lovely Esteem, and welcome to Healing Through Conversations, where we talk about healing, growth, financially, emotionally. We really focus on our mental health, and we focus on celebrating the maturity that comes along with healing, because healing is an ever-growing thing. It is alive, baby. It is breathing, and it probably is having hot flashes right now. Let me tell you, today I am so excited because I have who I consider some people just kindred spirits in my life, people who we meet randomly, we're not sure why, and we just accept each other for where we are in the moment. And one of the things that I love about Miss Ellen G was that almost every single person that she met at the moment that they were there. Like, and if she was going through something, she would say, hey, I'm having a moment. And then she would back off. And I'm like, that's what we do? Is this maturity? Because I didn't sign up for that part. That wasn't a course I took. So not only does she inspire me through her willingness to be open with regards to her vulnerability in the community, because I feel like when you meet people who can mourn with others and celebrate at the same time, it's something special about that. Thank you, Miss Ellen G. I love you so much. Thank you for coming on here.
I love you back. Thank you.
Please introduce yourself to the listeners.
So my mama named me Lee Tree Scant, my host name. So what's interesting about the name Ellen G is that some people met me as Ellen G and they think that is my birth name. And so when they see Lee Tree Scant, they're like, who is that? And I'm like, it's me. Ellen G is a play on my initials. So my middle name is Nicole. So I took the first letter off of each of my names, and that's how I came up with Ellen G. It's I'm paying homage to the 80s. I'm a 70s baby. It was always, DJ Sparky D and MC Cooley D. Yeah. So the Ellen G is that native Baltimorean. Born and bred, grew up in South Baltimore, lived everywhere in the city except Northwest. I've lived everywhere in Baltimore except Northwest. Co-organizer for the Baltimore Peace Movement. We used to be called Baltimore Ceasefire 365. I am the deputy director at the Baltimore Community Mediation Center. I just celebrated my 2-year anniversary last week. Last week, I've been there 2 years. What else? I've hosted events in Baltimore. Used to host a podcast called The Divas Dish with a group of my homegirls. Got introduced to podcasting through the Evolution of Perspective, which was born out of Perspective's rap sessions. So sitting around with my friends and we having conversations, and I believe that I'm a natural interviewer, so I'm always asking people questions, and we sitting around in a circle having conversation. I'm just like, we need to do this again, and initially wanted to do it just with women, so women sitting down in a space, being vulnerable, being comfortable, having elevated girl talk with one another. And I remember talking about it and men asking me, well, how come we can't come? And I was like, I guess y'all can come. Y'all can't say nothing because this is for us. And that evolved into me hosting a women's only session, a men and women's session, and then a session where we talked about relationships. And I also hosted a networking session through the Evolution of Perspective. And so that is my life in a nutshell from 2009 up until now. Yeah.
It's a lot. You're busy.
Yes.
You needed to sit down. You needed to sit down.
Yes. I needed to have a seat.
we were off camera. We were talking about how I believe both of us at the same time were always out, like moving and about. And COVID happened and it set my ass down. And initially it was because I was afraid. Like, I'm not going to lie. I was petrified. I'm like, what do you mean I can't control it? Because I'm a control freak.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even recovering. I'm just that. It's just who I am. And if I can protect the people that I love, that's what I'll do. But you were telling me that it was a boogeyman outside, which is punching people in the face and rolling out. So I said, we gonna sit down. We're gonna be in this house and we're gonna sit down. Yeah. But what I discovered through that was that having that heightened sense of fear, it literally, it switched off my logical brain and it turned on my emotional brain. Ooh. And my heart and my mind started connecting in a way that it had not prior to. And I was able to really bang through some therapy that I really needed. I was able to gain perspective on how my relationships with the people who I loved, the relationship I had with myself. And it also turned on a faucet of memories from my past that I needed to heal from. Oh, and that's where I am in my journey of introvertedness. Baby, so how about you?
COVID. So I'm not officially diagnosed with ADHD or autism. I'm crystal clear that I have traits. And so, prior to COVID, I was an aggressive extrovert. Always somewhere doing something, the kind of extrovert that if there is a room that you have to enter and there's seats, I'm sitting in the front row because I want to be engaged. Like, I'm that kind of extrovert. Well, I am and I was. When the pandemic hit, I was working at Hopkins and I had been working in research administration for Hopkins for almost 20 years before I left. And so working in that institution, I got, whispers of this thing that was happening before it hit mainstream. And I'm like, so we started getting prepared to work remotely in December, I think.
Us too. There was
a conversation about it in December. So January came, more conversations. Do you have a laptop? Do you have stable Wi-Fi? And I'm looking around. Other people, I don't know that they were paying as much attention to it, but I'm like, something is coming. February came, more conversations about working remotely, make sure you have everything that you need. I got sick Friday, March 13th. And that was the day that the world shut down. And I remember feeling ill prepared. So I'm like, oh, I need to go to work to pick up my this, and I forgot to grab that. And so I'm checking it with my managers to see, and they were like, don't go in the building.
Yep.
Don't go in the building. No, you have to get authorization to go into the building for anything. And I was like, ugh, okay, all right. So I'm doing what I can to make my space feel like work, but not work so much that it didn't feel like home anymore. And so, Cheryl, I painted my bedroom. I had plants all over the place. Like I had everything set up. And I remember thinking to myself, the world as we know it is about to be very, very, very different. So I started going back and I'm looking at history. So I looked up the pandemic from, I think it was 1920.
The Spanish.
And I saw that lasted 3 years. I was like, oh, we're going to be in the house for a while. And I kept saying that to people and people were like, no, we not. Like, it's a flu. Like, I'm like, no, we're going to be in the house for a while. And I remember on social media, people being like, 6 months from now, I'm going to be back outside. Baby, she ain't got all of my money right before the pandemic hit. I bought all the blouses, all the dresses, all the dress pants, all the everything. And I'm sitting upstairs in a closet full of clothes. Like, I can't wear none of this anywhere.
None of it. I can't fit it because I didn't ate myself into a scary coma.
Listen, went from 135 to 170, and I was like,
but you didn't know because the pants just stretch with you,
baby.
The pants just stretch. Well, I stopped looking at myself.
I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it. I lost 5 pounds of it. That was it. That was it. This is her right now. This
is us.
Yeah, this is us.
Yeah. Okay.
And so and I noticed that the instinct that I had to put myself out there, to, you know, be out in front, like that instinct started to wither. And so I'm pulling back into myself, and I'm listening to music more, and I'm listening to spiritual books more, and noise bothers me. All of the hustle and bustle around the house is like, I'm like, this is too much. This is too much. And I watched myself over the last 3 years become a person who, I just want to go to work and come home. I just want to go to work and come home. Oh, it's an event Friday.
Did I say yes?
Right.
Yes. Was I happy when I said yes?
I was happy when I said yes.
And I usually turn to people like, you know, you can't let me say yes when I'm happy. God damn it. I'll be yes. And it's like, no.
Absolutely not.
And not watch you be miserable for the next 2 hours until you get there. Take a half an hour to get yourself together. Then when you're there, you're excited for the first like 20 minutes. Then you try to figure out when is the right time to leave. Oh, I have to speak. Oh, but what time am I going on? Well, who's going after that? Who's going to be there? Because I might leave early. Like, you started the conversation.
The figuring out what to wear, figuring out makeup, figuring all of those things out, where I used to get joy out of those things. I'm like, okay, I don't know who I'm becoming. I have no idea whether or not who I was before was a false version of me. Like, I don't know where she came from. I don't know if she was so excited to be around people because she was scared to be alone. Like, I don't know who she was. I just know that she don't exist anymore. And so now I'm like, okay. And I don't want to be an introverted, like, I don't want to be this person. And so what I would love to do, and what I plan to do, is to figure out balance. Being out just enough so that I can enjoy the sweetness of life, but not too much, because too much of anything ain't good for me. I don't want it.
I'm a 51-49 type of girl.
Yeah.
That's where I am. What I will say about what I've learned about myself in this age, because getting older does give you some perspective. I want to have peaceful moments where I enjoy joy.
Yeah.
I don't want to have hectic moments when I'm happy. I don't want that.
Right.
So that like balance of, I would much rather be present and we be just sitting down, chilling, having brunch, talking about things. I want to see you happy, and I want to come out and enjoy some things.
Yeah.
But I know that perimenopause is kicking my ass a little bit. And if you are suffering from a hot flash and you are going through depression a little bit, baby, that's not the time to be outside fucking up people's spirit, because you darken it.
It's not.
It's not. But but having the courage to say that.
Yes.
I know that I used to say, I used to be like, I don't know why they're so cranky. Now I know why they were cranky. And now I want to just be like, I'm sorry that I called you evil, Miss Beverly. I didn't mean it.
I wasn't understanding.
I am you now.
Yeah.
And when you said I've had enough, you really meant that. You weren't saying that about me. You was just saying in general, why is my bra on at 9:45 at night?
Baby, give me a day party, every once in a while. But I, thinking about depression, one of the things that I learned about myself during the pandemic was that, like, it really, like, the point got driven home for me. Irritability is the way that depression shows up for me. And so I've been telling people I have lived in a perpetual state of annoyance for the last 30 years. I'm annoyed about like any little thing that can happen. I can be annoyed about it and beat myself about that too. Beat myself like, why am I so mean all the time? Why? And when I feel happy, I felt like I was being fake.
Wait, look, wait, this one, like, if this was a show, I'd be like, cut, like, oh, okay. I did this whole course on how depression shows up in different cultures, right? Because one of the big things that I really wanted to understand was when I was going into this mental health lifestyle, because it's a life, once you enter, you can't come back out. You're in it. But you want to learn how to read the room.
Yeah.
Because there is something to be said about Black women. We have learned how to suffer with a smile. We have learned to be very emotional, but stoic at the same time. We've learned how to sing while in pain. So when people see us, it looks like we're just these. I tell, don't call me a strong Black woman. Don't you?
Don't do it.
I will punch
don't
you.
Do
I
it.
will throat punch you.
Don't do it.
But watching us try to figure out why we are the way we are, and then you start going back to your childhood, to your memories, and you realize that your parents were probably depressed.
Right.
And then you learn that not only were your parents depressed, maybe your grandparents were depressed.
Probably.
And watching them try to pass that gene along, because we are all the same light, just different faces.
Yeah.
And then realizing that, okay, so maybe when this thing happened, maybe when sexual assault happens in Black little girls, we grow up learning how to be either super stoic and very Christian, or we learn how to be very promiscuous because we want to catch you before you catch us.
Right.
But people don't see that. They just see you being fast. She's not being fast. She's showing you what's happening at home.
Yes.
And nobody stops to see that because all they see is a body part moving. All they see.
That's right.
And I was like, Black women, we out here suffering, bitch, at a brunch with 20 girlfriends.
Listen.
Dressed to kill.
Listen.
And want to die.
Shoot, like, just on point from head to toe. And our core is screaming the fuck out.
Breathe it out. She said I gotta give it.
Because the shout out to my therapist. I have been in therapy July, August, September, 14 months. 14 months. Not my first stint. Very first stint in therapy was around 2004, 2005. But at the time, I was in a toxic, cataclysmic relationship. And it was one of the best relationships of my life because it was the relationship that held a mirror up to me in ways that others could not. I really saw myself and I did not like what I was looking at. I did my best to try to blame him. I did my best to try to be like, see, because if you wouldn't have did this, then I wouldn't have did that. And that man told me very plainly after we broke up, you have to be very careful about how you tell the story. Because you want to tell the story in a way that you end up hurting me and hurting yourself, but you're not going to understand that you're hurting yourself. Now, I'm listening to him and I'm like, okay, I mean, he probably got a point. I don't understand what he means right now, but he probably has a point. The way that I told that story, I made myself a victim. And I had made myself a victim of his decisions. And they weren't really his decisions. Like that thing about mirror reflecting and like I'm a firm believer, especially romantic relationships of mirrors, and they show us in ways that are undeniable. And if we are paying attention, it's an opportunity for us to heal.
Absolutely.
But that man was the man that I said, nobody else is gonna see me cry. I didn't cry so many tears, but that motherfucker, nobody else is going to see me cry. And so I stuffed all the tears. And when I said deep down, so far down, I forgot they were there, Lisa. I forgot. And things would happen, and I'm like, pretty devastating things. And I'll be like, how come I can't cry?
Oh, girl, start talking about you. But then you get labeled as the stalk one. Oh, when something goes wrong, call Ellen. Call Latrice, because she got it. She goes. Meanwhile, I tell people, no, what you see is trauma. Trauma shows up.
That's it.
Trauma can handle what's wrong because trauma is in a familiar, comfortable place.
That's right.
Trauma knows what it feels like to be dark and
that's right.
Blood don't scare trauma. Yeah. Guns don't scare trauma.
That's right.
Because we're not doing that.
Right.
Now, what's on the inside? The little girl on the inside in the corner crying, screaming for somebody to just come pick her up and hug her. That she been duct taped. She looking. She like, please, if you could just let me off.
Somebody, please.
Let me up.
Or something. And so I have cried more in the last year and some change in therapy. And one of the things that he said to me, so he's, crying, and our inclination and our socialization tells us to wipe away our tears because they burn on the way down. It's like, He said, where do your tears land when they fall? And I'm like, here. He said, what's right there? Your heart.
Sir, please, okay? I'm going to need you to stop being so personal. Because not today, Fred. Not today. Today I have a silk shirt.
Let them fall and water your heart.
That is beautiful, though.
And so I'm like, okay. And he said, and that burning, that stinging sensation, when a sore heals, what happens to it? It starts itching. Okay. All right. And I'm crying I'm like, I don't want to be in therapy crying. And he's basically like, it ain't what the fuck you want. Like, what's going to happen though?
A therapist will snatch your wig off, throw it in the corner, and not give it back to you just so you can't leave the room.
Listen.
Take your soul. A good one. And
make you pay for it.
You pay for it. You want to reinstall it? It's an extra $250. It's an extra $250.
And so, like, that moments of clarity, understanding, misunderstanding, and I didn't know. And then when I knew, I didn't want to admit out loud that I was a professional victim. I didn't want to admit that out loud. I didn't want to say that to nobody. I specialize in victimizing myself in my own story and in other people's stories. And I'm like, okay. So much so I have 3 children. My oldest is 31. My son is 28. My youngest will be 22. So all my kids. Your grandmother had 3 children by the time she was 22. I had 2 children by the time I was 20, had my 3rd child at 28. Don't have babies before you turn 25, not because we don't love children. Find yourself first. Find a little bit about who you are. You're not going to know who you are at 25, but you're going to know better than you were when you were 20.
32 is iffy, honestly. I didn't find myself until I was 37.
I mean, I'm still...
No, I mean, like, truly, like,
yeah,
being able to feel comfortable and saying no.
Yeah.
Not feeling like I needed to be of service in order to be loved.
Yeah.
I really had to, like, fall into that space because I always say, when you don't have great role models around you, and I'm not talking about your mom, your whatever,
right?
But when your environment is bred by people who are struggling
Yeah.
to survive, and
Yeah.
you've never been in an area where people learn to thrive,
Yeah.
it is a very different life. So
Definitely.
when you are breaking some of those generational traumas, those generational threads that we have, those tentacles
Mhm.
that reach out to us, when
Mhm.
you get into the thriving section, it feels fake because
Mhm.
it's a life that you don't understand. It's like when you it's like him pushing the car, like do the push button car versus the key.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
why so easy?
It's going
It don't sound like it's running. Is this a new car? I don't
right.
trust it. I need my car used to shake. Why it's not shaking? You know, so like I totally get what you're saying. It's like don't get me wrong, I do not wish to go back and have children at a later age because
Right.
I love having the ability to love them while I'm still young enough to like really feel
Yeah.
that. But I do
Yeah.
understand that they had to grow up with me, and that I say all the time, hey, if I fucked you up, I'm so sorry. I say that out loud, like, you know, you can, and they know they can come to me. I'm like, you can tell me that I fucked you up because I'm going to say yes.
My oldest won't let me forget it. She will not let me forget it. My son, you know how boys are with their mother. My son is more forgiving. He's a little bit more understanding. And even with him, I have to check in to make sure that he's not going underground and denying reality about stuff. Like
Yeah.
I was way more mentally ill in my 20s than I knew that I was. Way more.
Nobody pointed it out because we was all out there struggling.
Listen.
We was on Denial River. We was just swimming down there, living in fuck you lanes. Just
Child, and one of them little float donuts just
drunk off our asses, talk about nothing's wrong. It's everything's great.
It's everybody else's problem. It's not me.
I didn't do it. You know, if my mother would have just, if my father would have just, if my family would have just, what?
Yeah.
What?
That part.
Are you alive though? I am, but I'm dead on the inside. Like,
right. So I'm telling them, don't have babies before you turn 25. And I love the language, generational threads.
Yes.
I love that over curse. I love that.
Yeah, the threads, because it's the little tethers. It's those little lines.
Yeah.
Because you don't always know that we have so much generational wealth that we don't always talk about until somebody dies, and then we talk about all the greatness.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about those like generational threads, it's not always this big thing. It's the fact that you might have called somebody fat mama.
Right.
And you didn't know that you were really just tearing away at who they were as a person.
Right.
And they spend their whole life trying to be thin mama, but you won't change the name.
Right.
I called you that name, so you just got stuck with it instead of saying, I'm sorry, baby.
The apologizing part, learning, I feel like I was in my late 30s when I learned to apologize to my children. And I was like, okay, this is not me usurping my authority by apologizing to them. I'm actually demonstrating behaviors. I'm letting them know that it's okay. Like y'all know better than I do that I'm not perfect. Y'all know way better than I do that I'm perfect. And I need to say that out loud to y'all. And so my 22-year-old is still home. And we talk.
I know, it's so good though.
Ain't it?
They teach you so much because they're like, you know, it was interesting. It was a quote that says, stop raising your children for the life you lived and raise them for the life they're in.
Yes.
And I was like, who are these people that keep fucking up my happy space? Because it's the truth. People keep saying, back in my day, we're not back in your day. This is a different war. It's different celebrations.
Everything
different
is
liberations.
Different. Yeah.
And there's certain things that just aren't acceptable, that it shouldn't have been acceptable for you.
Right.
And it's not acceptable for them. And a lot of my youngest will be 21 on the 15th of October.
Okay.
And they are serious about equality and having a footing in this world.
I love it.
And I just I'm like, so what we doing this week?
Right. Teach me.
Like, I don't know what flag am I, what life am I celebrating? Just,
right.
If you tell me,
yes, I got you.
Because they're in the trends, they're in the queer community, and learning the language, learning the inclusiveness, learning how to breathe and roll with the changes that are happening.
Yeah.
Coming from where the 90s? Ooh.
I've always been queer friendly. So
I was raised by a gay man. So I don't have, my life is like, I'll fuck you up over a gay comment.
Right. So we're not doing that. No. We're not doing that. And so like, even when my daughters had their experiences, I was glad that like there was at least one thing that they couldn't be like, and yeah, my mother never accepted. Okay, what's her name? Okay, all right, cool. You like her, I love her. Come on, let's go.
Did your kids get mad because you didn't give them anything? My kid got mad. My kid said, I told you that I was going on a date with a girl. You ain't even say nothing. I said, what you want me to do? You need me to be a little dramatic?
Pom-poms, like, what are we doing?
They were on their way to college, and they took a class on trans rights. And you know, when you're in class, it's like everything else. When you got to fight to be Black, and you got to fight to be mixed, and you got to fight to be white, like everything. I said, baby, I'm sorry you don't have a story, okay? Like, I was raised that everybody is a good person until they prove they're not. Now, if my intuition say you're not, you already are not. I listen to her because she be straight point. She like, spiritually, we don't get along with these people. They're not good. Don't touch that. I'm like, okay, hi, I got it. But in general, I don't need to have a dramatic story with it doesn't have to be like that. But I do understand wanting to have that like moment of like, when you're younger, like having your coming to, I'm gonna come out. I was like, baby, you've been opening that closet door out for a minute.
The closet door is a glass door, baby. We got and so for me, part of it was allowing fluidity in their experience so that they can figure out what they like.
Yes.
Like, okay, that's not you no more. That's fine. Okay, but you would. Oh, okay, all right, yes, yeah, but you're not today. Okay, all right, that's fine. So, and they always said to me, like, I'm glad that you never made me feel a way about it. And I'm like, I made you feel a way about enough shit. Like, who you like?
T-shirt worthy. I made you feel a way about enough shit.
I'm not
you good on this end. This end.
Not about who you like.
Going. Okay. I damaged you. Because remember when I was 25 and I shouldn't even been talking to you.
Right.
Somebody should have smacked me in my mouth when I said what I said to you. But they didn't, because they said, oh, that you the mama.
Right.
I should not have been the mama though. Yeah. I love you and I want you to love me back. But
that's right.
And I understand that the ability to apologize. I used to say to my kids, I said, this is an open lane. If you feel like, I used to say, if mommy did something wrong, tell me so we can talk about it.
Yeah.
And it didn't mean that I didn't go to my room and be like, fuck them kids, I don't even know why they talking to me like that. I did. Okay. I had odds a lot. But I wanted them to develop the strength to be able to tell their story come hell or high water.
That's right.
Because like a lot of us, we had shit happen to us and we didn't have a voice. So by the time we were 20 something, right? Yeah, that guy touched me back and such, and the parent like, why didn't you say something? It wasn't comfortable to say anything. You would have told me I was lying. I was moving too fast. Why was I outside?
I shared experiences that I had in unsafe spaces. Not intentionally, but I remember telling a family member about what happened to me, and then them going and talking to other family members.
Donkey punch right in the throat.
And I'm like, and to be fair, they thought that they were having the conversation out of
love.
protection. I want to, because if it happened to her, it could have possibly happened to y'all too. And so I want to, and I'm like,
ask me for my permission though.
And recognizing, so like my mother, for example, my mother grew up in a time where security, securing my future, especially my financial future, like securing my financial future, like that was her thing. I don't even know if she realized consciously that that was her thing. And so all of the decisions that she made were based off of that. For me, it was about internal security.
Yes. Yeah.
And I didn't realize that until maybe like 3 years ago.
Generational gaps.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And figuring out, so I'm listening, I'm driving home today and I have PMS, shit on my nerves. I'm like, I'm just every little thing, let me just get quiet. And I'm like, I don't want to feel like this anymore. So I go on Spotify, I look up guided meditations on anger. Put that on, and I'm like, that's not what the fuck I'm supposed to be listening to right now. So then I pull up something else, and Eckhart, I think his name is pronounced Tolle. I'm not exactly sure because I never hear people say his name, but Eckhart Tolle, who I've listened to, The Power of Now, like just all of those metaphysical teachings. And I'm listening to this man talk about anger. And I'm listening to him talk about how we can decide how we want to feel. Like you can make a decision, you can break the loop.
Hello.
Meanwhile, I'm telling my youngest daughter, because she just went through a breakup, you have to tell yourself a different story, baby. Like your body is used to experiencing highs and lows. It's used to being in that cycle. And so you can interrupt that cycle. When you start to feel low, do something else so that you can interrupt that cycle. I'm listening to this man and I'm like, giving my daughter advice. I'm not taking the shit for myself. I'm not taking it for myself. Like, I know.
Damn it.
I know. And so, but I'm happy because I'm like, okay, I understand that when I'm feeling angry, that it's just a feeling, it's just a moment. Something could possibly be happening for me to be like, oh, there's a no somewhere around here that I need to uncover and figure out why it's here. But if it's just that my mood is bad, I can interrupt that. I can put some music on. I can wash some dishes. I can distract myself from it so that I break the loop. There's a I think they're called samskaras. So it's you imagine a record and how the record has grooves in it. And there's a theory, and I think it's an Indian theory, that our lives play out like that. And that when we experience something traumatic or when we experience something glorious, that moment gets imprinted in it. There's a groove.
Yes.
If you look at your Facebook memories, you'll notice, because I pay attention to patterns, how 12 years ago today, you might be having the exact same feeling that you have. And you're like,
you have cycles.
Yeah.
They always tell you that they say, pay attention. Like they say, if you look into your ear and then you look at an embryo, it's the same shape. Like it just, life really gives you, life be life. Life really life.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've learned when I'm going through my emotions, I took a course on focus therapy.
Okay.
And what happens is that as you are going through the emotion, you smack it. So you find ways. One of the big things that I do, I always tell people, if I'm angry, I'm listening to Southern rap. It's something about booty clapping music that will take that, or I listen to DJ Kurt Franklin because he'll try to get you off. But I'm one of those people, like, I usually try to meet a moment with either, I'm not good at, they say, like, I want you to sit down and think about the beach. I want you to think about water. I'm like, that's not me. my person is, the minute some shit happens, I'm like, one, is it a fact or a feeling?
Right.
Because I need to make sure that I'm really, for me, pinpointing what the issue is. And am I contributing to it? Because 9 times out of 10, you was a part of it.
I was in there.
And one of the big things that I learned when I went to therapy that I did not like for the first 4 months was I statements. I was like, I don't understand. We were there. You were there. Like, no. And he kept saying to me, he said, listen, you keep trying to understand why other people are doing what they're doing when you would not do that to other people. He said, stop trying to put yourself in places you would not wish to travel. Said, first off, snatch my wig off and call me Jonathan. I don't even know what happened, but getting used to making I statements. And I am really big on that. And that's why when people say, I told you on Tuesday that I would, you right. I probably didn't listen. I probably didn't hear it. Yeah. Because now I've de-escalated the situation.
That's right. That's right.
Honestly, and it's usually not worth fighting about. It's not worth it.
It's not.
There's so much happening in life that really we fight to prove that we have dominance.
Yeah.
When who the fuck can 20 minutes from now?
Listen, I have a rule for myself that I don't argue with strangers. Wherever I am, if anything ever pops off, everybody else is right. And I know some people might be like, well, that's condescending. Okay. And I'm probably never going to see this person ever again in my life. Is it really worth the argument? Like, sir, you know what? I apologize. You got that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Agent Smith, because that's what I call them, Agent Smith. They just show up, they disrupt your day.
Right.
And then you stand there huffing and puffing. And
yes.
I'm like,
yeah.
The power of consciousness. Am I paying attention to what's happening right now? Yeah. What am I drawing to me?
Yeah.
You know, because 9 times out of 10, I'm with you. I'm one of those people. I want to go to work, come home safe, love on the people I love.
Yeah.
Spend a lot of time with myself.
Right.
Scroll on TikTok until my brain hurt a little bit. Right. Do something super enriching. Take a class.
Yeah.
But I want you to chill. I want it to chill the fuck out. I'm like, I know what it feels like to not have peace in my life. And I know what it feels like to touch peace. And I am never going to stray away from that peaceful place. I may sometimes divvy into like denial, like every once in a while my toe dip into it because it feels like familiar. I'm like, right. I did not do that. But right. Peace, I strive for that because you can find peace in grieving. You can find peace in anger. You can find peace in destruction.
That's
you can find joy in the saddest moments, but you will not find happiness there. Right. It's not there. It's not one of those things. And you will not find like, when people say, I hate this. I said, did you love something so much that you hate it? Because in order to hate it, it had to have been something that you loved so much. Because and I think that when we're learning how to articulate ourselves, learning how to put the proper word in place of what needs to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that like when kids say, I used to say to my kids, when they be like, I'm so bored. Are you bored?
Right.
Or can't you find something that you would like? Or do you not like this thing anymore?
Right.
Because I think like it's like relationships. I'm so bored. Are you bored in this relationship or have you outgrown that relationship? Have you stopped trying in that relationship? Have you not told the truth in that relationship? I used to say, has the person that you sent as the representative gotten tired?
Baby, not today you won't. Not today. Not today you won't.
But think about that. I know a lot of us, we send our representatives out because they like, hey, we need you to go out and do feelers. But then the person falls in like with the alternate. You like, that's not who I am on Tuesday at 4 o'clock.
Right. It's not.
You're not going to know how to handle. She don't really like being outside like that. I know I was outside. You thought I could do the cha-cha slide and
Right.
dance at the same time? Baby, I was drunk. I had 2 glasses of wine. I don't drink that often because.
Oh, so about representatives. So I realized maybe, and this is, I think, the first time that I'm saying this out loud to anybody, that my representative has been present and dealing with most people. So kids, family, siblings, significant others, friends. And my son asked me, so he has a girlfriend who I adore his girlfriend. And the two of us, so Fred is my significant other. So Fred, Gerard, Hope, and I went out on a date because we had been around each other, but like not been around each other. And so we were like, we're gonna go out. And Gerard, my son, was telling me that his girlfriend was nervous. Now, I've known them. When my son lived here, they met, and she was here all the time. We never like interacted with each other, and so he was like, no, like just be yourself. Just be yourself. They won't like you. And she was like, I'm nervous. And he was like, well, I'm me everywhere I go. And talking to my daughter about it, she was like, yeah, I am. I said, I'm not. I don't know what that life is like. I don't know what that life is like at all. And again, I think some of it is autism and figuring out, and then the other part of that is just really this deep-seated fear of being just a weirdo and being
But
okay
how
with being
sexy
a
are we
weirdo.
now that you let the weirdo out?
Hey.
People be loving up on you, kind of like, oh, they're like, why have you always been like this? You was like with the people like me, like deep in the house. Yeah, they see me like this. Okay, but outside, no, because y'all used to tear me down. Like y'all, I wasn't black enough. I was doing white stuff. Y'all gave me a complex, so I couldn't be my true self outside because I wasn't black. But who the fuck? What is black enough? Like what? Why I gotta have a stereotype?
Are we not? When I say what did the guy say? He said, I feel like he said, white bread to charcoal. I feel like that was the description that he gave, but like, is that not the full, like the full spectrum of who we are? And there are common themes that are exclusive to us. It's some stuff that can happen, and Black people who don't know each other will be like,
I got that. That look, the look. Or if you see another Black person in yellow, it's like you have to say it's like a magnet to the yellow.
Yes.
You know, or it's the head nod.
Yes.
You know, it was a young Black guy, and he said he lived in a predominantly white neighborhood, and he went to college, and he got his first head nod. And said he went home and called his mom and was like, Mom, I got a head nod from a Black guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, in our world, we're like, that's so normal. But I understood what he was saying. It's like getting that validation.
That's right.
It's like, for me, that's me. When we were doing Purple Honey together, right? And it's all these different talents and different stages of people who think that they're great, and some who are down to earth, and those who are not, right? That's life.
Yeah.
And one of the big things that used to throw a lot of the people in the back off is that I was never impressed by the person who thought that they were great. I'm like, listen to me, all right? Without your band, okay, done. Without your stylist, done. Without, like, some of the things that you think I'm not knocking your talent, because your talent is your talent.
That's right.
But at the end of the day, if they stripped you naked, you're still a human being. Right. And one of the things that I loved, like I said, I loved about our interactions together is that no matter how weird it was happening in the back, we all kind of like saw each other. It was like, are we going to be theater nerds or not? Like, are we going to sing a song or we're going to, and then we would go out front and be like, yeah, I'm cool. Everything's great. It's all cool. Everybody's I'm like, dude, in order for you to work in the music industry, you had to be a little geeky. You had to, there was some things about you. You were listening to classical music. You were listening to alternative music. Because in order for you to love music, you have to pull so much in. And I understand trying to like fit in, but I think that's one of the things that made me feel comfortable working in Purple Honey is that we had so many different backgrounds that you never had to be Black.
That's right.
Got to be you.
Showed up as human. Showed up human. Yeah.
I was going through depression for about 3 years. I would, when we were doing Magoobies, really big, like in the thick of like doing it like 4 times a year. I would show up, come in the back, do everything that needed to happen, talk to different people, and I would hit a stage and Dave would look at me and say, "You good?" And I'd be like, "I'll be back." And I would go sit in my car and just cry because I was overwhelmed, overstimulated. It was too much noise. I needed, I was feeling too much.
I felt that.
But also, I think when you're in an environment like that and I always tell people, I'm not an empath in the fact that I feel your emotions. I feel your energy, your spirits, like if you're a good or bad person. And I think when you're in it, when you're taking it in so much, that sometimes you're like, I'm going through my own shit and I need y'all to like, I need to shake y'all off. I would sit in the car for about a half an hour, get myself together, come back in. They'd be like, "You good?" I'm like, "I'm good." I would get what I need to get. I wouldn't, almost the whole time I did Purple Honey, I never took pictures at the end because I was gone. Because the minute my responsibility was done, that's why you didn't see me, because I needed to leave before my energy passed through too many people. I didn't want to touch people like that. If you think about it, I was almost never at the end of a show.
You were not.
And I enjoyed the experience, the Kier and Dave and Aaron and Danita and Crystal. Y'all really, it was like a family. Like, Katrina, it was a family. Like, if somebody fucked with you, you knew you had backup.
That's right.
100.
That's right.
Even people in the audience was like, "What's what?" But I was like, when you're going through your life, gaining weight, losing weight, your relationships going up and down, and every time they see you show up as a different person because you're trying to figure out how to fuck to fit in when you don't feel like fitting in that day. But I will say that pretty much they always just took you like you were, however you walked in. They was like, what can you do today? I'm gonna stay in the back, but we need you up front. But I'm gonna stay in the back. Okay, all right, let's go. Like, and you got to go on stage. You would be in the back, like, okay, and then you be like, say that prayer, take a deep breath, go out, do what I got to do, smile, chang, chang, chang. But when they said, all right, you was like, peace out, peeps. Okay,
right. Good night.
Good night. But see, I was gone. I was gone before you got to say good night. I was like,
you know what?
But it wasn't y'all space. Like,
right.
I was going through a lot. And I think that when you are having revolutionary healing and revolutionary hurt, that if you are emotionally intelligent a little bit, that if I touch LNG, the character can take it. Latrice may not be able to take it back. You know what I mean? So like, I knew for me that I cared enough about the people who I was with to not touch y'all with that. And it's not that I didn't trust that if I said something, you guys wouldn't be there.
That's right.
It was just that I didn't know how to accept my hurt. And if you don't know how to accept your hurt, putting that on other people and then walking away so they can think about it when they going through their own hurt too. Because they will dump and bump. Like, I've been telling people, I'm like, you going to dump on me and then like, boom, boom, you out? You skipped out of here, this bitch. You came in here crying and you skipped out of here. Now I got your emotions on my shoulders.
Oh my goodness.
I'm telling you.
I'm having like epiphanies. because I would, so one of the things that it was clear to me about when we met was that you're the kind of woman that the world could use more of. The world could use more women like you. You are beautiful, bubbly, like, you very, very firm. Because I feel like people know not to play with you. Like,
Nobody played with me. It
yeah,
was like, no, she good. She good.
people know not to play with you. And you show up with, like, even when you're not feeling good, you show up with a joy. Like, I can tell, like, that there's a joy that's rooted, like, way deep inside of you.
I want to see people win, even when I'm not.
Yeah.
It's big to me to I believe in celebrating little loss. It's like when people talk about what does mental health look like, the mental illness, what does a mentally ill person look like? I'm like, look at me. Right. I have earrings on, my makeup's done, my hair is done. If I take this off, I still got plaits, but they still look good. They done in. I go to work every day. I take care of my children. I have moments when I have disassociation, when it's really bad. I have all those things. Yeah. But what I will tell you is that at the end of the day, if you tell me I was so sad yesterday, but you know what I did? I took a shower. We're fucking celebrating the shower. We're celebrating the fact that you could comb your hair. We're celebrating the fact that you ate a fucking meal. Because what people need to understand is that in order to get to those big celebrations, for those big celebrations to not feel hollow, right, you have to have filled up that space. And if you don't know how to celebrate yourself at the lowest moment, when you get to these highs, then what you need people to do to celebrate you is going to be erroneous. It's going to, it's like, I need you to throw me a 70th birthday party on a type of the Eiffel Tower, and I need to have Luther Vandross come sing for me. It's impossible for me to do that. But if I'm celebrating these little moments, and we're bubbling up, and we as friends have seen each other, we celebrate the girl, I saw you out here, you put a little lip gloss on yesterday. When we get to that place of big celebration, it feels so inclusive. And that, to me, for not just women, but like you said, learning how to heal alongside of Black men. Yeah. Learning how to have conversations that are inclusive, and that we can discuss the pain that we put each other through, but we both want to heal. We want, but we understand that we heal different. That's right. We hear different. We speak different, but it's okay. Yeah. But when we want to celebrate, what do Black and white and Black people when we get together? Oh, we celebrate together like there is. Will, I'm like, first off, I didn't even know you could dance like that, Will. I didn't even know you could do that. Right. And that is, to me, like that is the power of true joy, like that underlining feeling inside of you when you see somebody who's down and you're like, I don't want to fix you, but I want to remind you that you are you. Yeah. That's all I want to do. Like, I'm not here to be like, you should be happy. Why aren't you smiling? I need you to no, bitch. No, don't smile. Right. Like, remember you're human. Yeah. Remember that your feelings, it's all valid. Okay. Yeah. Don't hurt you and don't hurt others. And it takes a lot. Like, it's maturity, because I remember being younger and just fussing to fuss. Like, and honest to God, I couldn't even tell you. My husband would say, we've been together since we were 13 and 14. Oh, wow. So, we've gone through all the shit that every other relationship has gone. People be like, imagine going through the same shit with the same face. Like, at least some people be flipping the faces, like, no. He just get different hair. That's all he got. Right. I get like a goatee, a beard, no goatee, a beard. Like, that's what we do. But we've gone through the same thing. And it's like, if you get to a stage in your life, especially when you date so young, you don't know yourself. There's this, like you said, this ebb and flow. But what happens when you get to the low point and both of y'all at the low? And neither one of you know that you're hurting and that you need healing. And there's no representation of what hurt, healed people look like.
That's right.
Because our parents, my mom now is like, so what they say about the mental health thing? She got questions, right? But prior to that, all she knew was, I need to make sure that these kids don't live the same life I live.
Okay.
So whatever that took, and I resonated with you, I need you to financially find a job, and I need you to stay there. I need you to get a good job, got benefits, and I want you to be able to sit down.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was the dream.
Right.
There was no dream beyond that. No artistic dream, no real life lessons. Everything was surrounded around poverty and not living in that space. But you can be poor mentally, and you can be poor physically and spiritually and emotionally, and that money means shit, because all the poor parts of you will spend that money in the wrong way.
Baby, buying everything you don't need, things that you think that you want, stuff that's going to be sitting up on the shelf. You just surrounded by trinkets, surrounded by things, surrounded by
your emotions.
Yeah.
And I love shoes. Yeah. People know me. Y'all know I'm a shoe girl.
Yes.
But I can honestly say my love of shoes was the thing I could control.
Right.
So it's like when you're in corporate America, you're very black, beige, white, blue. If you wore red, it was because you're being spicy.
Right.
You know? Because I had to learn, and it makes me mad now, and it really makes me mad. Then it makes me mad, sad. And now I'm sad, mad, because it's different. You pounce up. Yeah. But I had to learn to be black in corporate America.
Right.
And that part right there, when you have to deny a part of yourself, or you start to white out, and it's nothing to do with Caucasian. You literally are opacing who you are.
That's right.
To try to fit in. You want to just be a cardboard. I want to be a cardboard. I want to make sure I fit in.
That's right.
And at some point, who you are innately starts to show up, and you're like, hey, what you doing? What you doing? Hey, what you doing? And I'm like, mine showed up 10 years into my job. It took 10 years for me to be me. And I told my job one time, we had this big diversity, when diversity kind of started. Mm-hmm. And they said, tell us a story of when you really had to figure out how to just be you. And everybody was kind of telling stories about, I was a mom, and it was hard to be a mom. And and I was a guy. And I said, and I was one of 2 Black people in the room. Mm-hmm. And one, that's a lot of courage to stand up and have a conversation when you just there. Mm-hmm. And I said, I started here in 1998. I said, in 1998 through 2008, I would not allow family nor friend to pick me up from my job. We did not talk about home. I was very, very washed out. My hair it fit the area. My clothes fit the area. My talk fit the area. I was not colorful. I did none of those things. I said, and you were only getting 75% of what I could possibly give you as a person. I could give you 100% work, but I could give you 75% me. I said, but that 25% that you were missing was the flavor you needed for me to do my job great. I said, and when I got to 2008, something flipped in me that actually it started in 2002. And it took some time to really, you're going to do this. Mm-hmm. You're going to maybe.
Yeah.
I said, I had to do some inner work. I said, but when I decided to be me, I said, that's when I started flirting. That's when my raises came. That's when my advances came. That's when you got the version of me as me. And I had to find me.
Yes.
I said, because when you're in these spaces, I said, and I know sometimes you feel like this conversation is a Black-white conversation. It's not, because in Black culture, we're taught to answer the phone in a white voice. We're taught to play down your Blackness when you go into corporate areas. All the things that make you, that bring diversity, that make it a little more exciting to talk to you. We had to dumb that down because we were taught, don't bring attention to yourself from our ancestors. That thread, it's like, I want you to be safe. And the only way you can be safe is if you fit in.
That's right.
But you're not alive.
Yeah.
You know, I said, and to recess it, I said, to suppress a Black woman's flyness, you take away a part of who she is.
Yes.
You know? And I think that when I started doing Purple Honey and I started, because you would always come in with like a custom dress. And what you don't know about me is that I am, well, now you know, but I was like, oh shit, who is this person? And where are these dresses coming from? Because I am Hollywood glam all day. If you let me,
Yeah.
I would have tulle on.
Yeah.
But I probably would be cursing at the same time. Like,
I mean, but it's the,
it's the thing. And you would come in, but it wasn't just the dress. It was the fact that you would show up and be like, look, when I got this dress made, I was this size. And I ate, and the food was good. And when I zipping up this dress, I might need a little sweater or something, just letting you know, like you were just trying to find you, but like very honest with everyone around you.
Yeah.
And I think at the same time, you were probably going into your very spiritual self. I was really digging into who you were and trying to figure out if this glam life was the life you were looking for, or if you were just meant to be here to uplift the community that you wanted to serve.
Yeah.
And shortly thereafter is when I started seeing the don't shoot and the different things. And it's very interesting because your partner, I went to school with her brother, Nathan.
You went to school with?
We were at Carver together.
Wow.
And it was so interesting because I was like, yo, Smaltimore is crazy. I
was going to say the same thing.
Crazy. I was like, what is happening?
And it don't take much. You literally can throw a rock and be like,
one rock, a baby rock.
Yes. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I've been an astrology buff since I was probably like 5 years old.
I was gonna say, let's go far back. And if you was a 70s baby, you was an astrology baby.
Yeah, I've enjoyed learning about it. I'm learning more about it now. And figuring out, because like right now, I feel like I am flowing in the direction that life is taking me, and that's uncomfortable as shit. Because of control.
Yeah.
I need to control what's happening. I need to know. And in me controlling things, I ended up taking myself off course.
Welcome to the lane of no lanes.
And so circling back around, getting quiet, listening to my elders, listening to nudges, listening to like hearing you say the thing about, being comfortable showing up who you are, and like, well, who do I want to be in the world? And does it have to be a finite decision? Like, I get to be able to express
all the parts of you?
All of them.
Because all of them are great.
Experiment.
Yes. You only have one life in this body.
Listen.
Now, I mean, I believe in more than one life, because my future self definitely is. She be sending me pictures all the time. And she said that you crazy in this next life. I said, I don't want to do it. But I'm with you. Like, it is something so, but some of it comes with wisdom, right?
Right.
Because that wisdom comes with self-awareness.
That's right.
And feeling worthy. And it's self-reflection.
Yes.
And it's like you reflect on your 16-year-old self and was like, she was cool as shit.
Yeah.
But we told her she wasn't.
Right.
And then you reflect on yourself and you be like, I was not fat.
Right.
I was a woman.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Right.
And then you say, oh, I wasn't scared. I was vulnerable. I was brave. I wasn't sensitive.
Right.
I was vulnerable. I had my, they always talk about, your chakras. It's like it was open. It was available to people. And then hurt started stitching it up.
Yeah.
And learning how to rip that open. Because like you said before, when you got to rip that salve off that sore, And it's not healed all the way under there, and it's still meaty.
It's still meaty. It's going to bleed a little bit. It's going to itch. It's going to burn.
And like, just, one of the big things, I always laugh because whenever I send you guys the questions are for us to think about, right?
Right.
But we always, when we're having like these great conversations, we be hitting them, like hitting the thing so much. And the amount of times that I can admit my flawed self showed up to an event, my flawed self showed up to a conversation and love on that part of me.
Yeah.
Versus before, I was trying to be so rigid, so say the right thing, do the right thing, look the right way. And I was like, but my spirit was like, I'm not square. Right. Because it's like, if you believe in astrology, you understand that we have this big circle. Yes. It's wide and it's different colors and it's on different frequencies. That's right. You're trying to stay like this. Right. That's why it hurt.
That is exactly why it hurts. That is so I've gotten spiritual readings, and the common thread in all of the spiritual readings are, why do I insist on flying below the radar? And every time I hear it, every time they say it, and so I'm in Reiki, and I'm having a conversation with the Reiki practitioner, and so he and I are talking about that, and it's kind of unnerving how plain the answers are. So what it said to me was, well, you get to create your reality. And so if the reality that you're creating, what you're projecting into the future is unsafe, because that's what your concern is, then that's what's gonna show up for you, and that's what's gonna be reinforced for you. And you have both the ability and the capacity to create safe space for you now and in the future. And so what would happen if you concentrated your energy on that, instead of, don't even concern yourself with what might happen, create a straight path towards what you want. And I'm like, oh, then that means I need to get clear about what I want, because I've been so busy focusing on what I don't want.
Hello. Like, I don't want that, but you keep saying it over and over, right? Like, I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be broke. How come I can't pay all my bills? Right. I don't want to be broke. At the beginning of the pandemic, one of the big things that I wanted to do, that I was working through with my therapist, and I said to him one day, I said, I'm going to change the algorithm of my life. And when I said it, I was like, okay, so how hard can that be? Right? Because you're like, I think positive. And then I started paying attention to the shit that I was following. Oh, because subconsciously we know that you'll be like, oh, that's a good video. And then you'll be like, and then you click on one and it's like sad, bombs blowing up. And then you'll watch it for a couple of seconds, then you'll go past it. But it's too late. It's there. It created. Now it has a place in your apartment. It lives with you. And I said, no. So what I had to start doing was, the minute I don't like something, I block it. Even when, like, because it's like, probably I say now I'm going on 10 years. I stopped watching the news. Yeah. I don't know when it's gonna rain. Yeah. I mean, sometimes every now and again, like, the internet will be like, hey, yo, bitch, it's a tornado coming. I'm like, oh. Yeah, go to the store and go in the house. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. But I had to stop doing that, because I was like, I used to just say, I'm just going to watch the weather. But if you pay attention, as soon as the weather's over, somebody died. Right. As soon as the weather's over, there was a fire. The moment. And there's no transition. You just. Nothing. Yeah. And I said, I'm one of those people where I envision everything. I used to tell people, if you were one of those kids that the minute the song came on, you made a video in your head. Yes. You choreographed the whole song. You can't feed yourself shit. Like, what are you feeding yourself?
That's right.
Because you can be overweight mentally with the things that you are feeding yourself mentally, right? And I was like, I don't want to do that because I'm gonna eat it and I'm gonna eat it. And my personality is very compulsive. It wants to like dig in, and then I want to research it and I want to learn about it. And I'm saying, what are you learning?
Right.
How is this thing that you're gonna learn about gonna help you grow? How is it going to help the threads? Like, if you are passing along all this energy in the house with people,
right,
and you're sitting around watching movies with people getting blown up and they're dying, and then you get irritated. Now you talking to people in a manner that that wasn't you yesterday. And I was like, you know what? I need to check myself, because obviously I don't know who, like you say, I don't know who I am. If I can be adaptable that fast,
right,
I don't know who the fuck I am.
Right.
So that, and I say all the time, COVID was a miserable time in a lot of ways. But if you had the privilege to stop, 9 times out of 10, you became creative.
Yes.
It really, like, all of the fear that you had turned into something creative.
Yes.
But you became very introspective.
Yeah.
And it opened up a part of you that you did not know needed to be touched.
That's right. That's right.
That's what I see in a lot of, that's why I laughed, because I'm like, when I saw you start doing little videos when you would be, doing like the comedy skits.
Yeah.
I said, what you trying to do? What you're doing? I see you, see me, see you. You see me, see you.
Yeah.
And even when you said, hey, you guys, I'm going to chill for a little bit.
Yeah.
Honesty.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I can't hang on Facebook. Facebook a bit much for me. I'm not going to.
I really, if it was not for hip hop karaoke, if it was not, I promise you, I would not even be on the internet. Like, I have had a blessed experience on the internet all the way back, I must say 96.
Yeah, that's about when it was. 94 was when it started popping for all of us.
Yeah. And met amazing people from the internet, people who I'm still connected to this day. A woman, Andrea Christian, she's an Indigenous woman who, through her example, I learned how to be really honest. Another woman, Jacinta, through her example, I learned how to be a little bit more adventurous. So like, I have been blessed to be able to have the experience on the internet where I'm looking around and I see all of these amazing fucking people. And I'm like, well, I'm amazing. I just have to figure out like how to put that out there like that. And maybe I don't. Maybe I just show up and just let it do whatever it is that it's going to do.
And it do it. It be out there doing it.
It be out there doing it. And it be doing it. And so on the one hand, I'm like, I don't want to get rid of it altogether, because there is a whole section of the internet that is just filled with beauty
and love and communalness and spiritualness and just
a
family. It's a family that's not your family.
Yeah. And human nature is what it is. And so the other parts of human nature are going to show up.
And that's why you block them. I will tell you, we could have been friends for 20 years. You saw some negative shit? Block it. I'll reach out to you and be like, yo, you good. Yeah. Maybe you're going through a breakup, because a breakup will turn you sour. Baby. It will. I mean, I know that when I was going through some shit, my I had to go back and delete. I was like, oh shit, you need to delete that. Because you were saying some stuff out your mouth. Take this off here. Who reposted this? I was out of my mind. Disassociate. Yeah. Because hurt shows up and hurts other people, right?
Yeah.
But I had to, like, even when I look at some of the stuff I used to post, I was like, I was trying so hard to be kind
Yeah.
at the same time. But like, when you going through it,
baby,
self-regulation is real hard, because I always say it's a difference between having hurt feelings and having your heart hurt. That heart hurt is when you lose weight. It's when you can't taste shit, when you lose hairs, when you can't go to sleep, or when you sleeping too much. That's a different kind of depression. That's a different kind of depression. And I used to say to people, I'm like, when you talk about people who've gone through abusive situations, I'm like, you got to realize that they wake up every day with a broken heart, yo. And trying to make decisions with a broken heart is a very fucking hard thing to do. You don't make great decisions when you can't self-regulate.
Hell no.
So blaming somebody, you could have left and done what? Because you don't know what I saw inside the house. You only see my eye. You don't see my body. You don't see my soul.
And can we, like, just as a society, take a step back just a little bit. Just take a step back just a little bit, because Black people specifically living in America, we're in an abusive relationship. And so the same way that you asked that woman, how come you didn't leave? We could ask you, like, why you still here?
Amen.
Why you still working that job that don't pay you what you know you deserve? Like, really, and not to belittle people, not to berate people or anything, but just like really putting things into perspective. Because if you put yourself in that person's shoes in your situation, you won't be able to have more compassion for them. You won't understand. You're not happy in America. You're not packing your shit up and rolling out and going somewhere else. You're not doing that. How come you're not leaving?
Yes. And how come you making a plan? Because you got to make a plan, okay? Because if it's just me, maybe I got a chance. Maybe. But if I got 2 kids, no car, no job, and I'm isolated from my family because they're across the country, where the fuck you think I'm going?
And I'm suffering from depression. I am traumatized.
Dissociating disorder, for real. Because you have to disassociate.
You have to. You have to.
And you can't, and I tell people, I'm like, the decisions I make when I'm rational, amazing. Top notch. Okay. When I'm irrational, why the fuck I go outside? I don't know. Why am I behind a car? Why am I driving a car?
I have no idea.
You know, I just tell people, I'm like, when I'm angry driving, it's like drunk driving.
Yeah.
You don't know how you got home. You don't know the speed you're doing.
That's right.
You cursing out everybody. Everybody.
Endangering your life and the lives of others.
And I'm like, and I've done it. Like, I don't talk, I try to, that's the one thing that I do love about when I went to therapy and learning about I statements. I really only do self-reflection from an I point of view.
Yeah.
And I know that in our culture, especially in Black culture, you're told to humble yourself, right? Right. But I'm like, listen, in order for me to humble myself, I have to talk about myself so I can talk about the good and the bad.
That's right.
So we can figure that shit out. But in
I'm
doing
a whole human being.
And you have to, like, it's like, you know, Lisa and Latrice connect on something different than the extroverts of Loveli and Ellen. Like, we out. We out there. But for real, we like, yo, I'm gonna take this bra off, take this hair down. Well, I'm really gonna put mine over there in the corner on her little shelf. Elf on the shelf, baby. Put her on the shelf.
Because I ain't even put a bra on for this interview. I was like, I'm in the
Look, I said, because I put on this shirt, I was like, if I don't have a bra on, this shit is good. This, because it's all Black women. That's what my thing was. It's all Black women. And I was like, her ass gonna look funny if my titties low. So I had to put my shirt up to make sure I could get it good. But I'm like, but I really, like, one of the big reasons I wanted to talk to you is because I feel like we've passed each other and had such great moments of conversation, but because we were living life. Like, there's no time to just sit down and talk about what's going on. But every time we saw each other, it's like, no matter where we were in the room, it's like, I see you over there. And I'm like, my husband be like, where you going? I'm like, to go get a kiss on the cheek. Oh. And he's funny because he's like, you don't let people touch you. I was like, I let good people touch you. That makes a difference because everybody, you like, oh no, what you hugging? What? Elbows out. Elbows out. Oh, what are we doing? So comfortable with me, are we? So comfortable. I'm like, you just see me smiling and you like, oh, she's open. No, I don't. I'm not comfortable.
Remind me of your zodiac sign again.
I'm an Aquarius. Yes, I know, right? Most people do not get it. They be like, yo.
Okay. I see now. My rising sign is Aquarius. Okay.
But I always like my daughter, she goes, Mom, I remember one year I had a reading and a spiritual advisor said, I don't think I've met an Aquarius so into her Aquarian. And I said, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, ma'am, because I'm really trying to get to the emotional side of my psyche.
Yeah.
But I always say, I'm like, I got Aquarius, Libra, Cancer, Scorpio, which I be trying to find a Scorpio, but I am spicy sometimes. I'm a little spiteful sometimes. Every once in a while, I can be a little spiteful. I got Capricorn and Sagittarius in there. And a Capricorn is a worker, but Capricorn is also a bit of a manipulator. So I be like, shit, where am I doing it? Help me, please. But my Aquarius is like 80% me.
Okay.
So I had to really work on being emotionally available to people. That was a hard thing for me to do. Because I'm like, why are we crying?
Right.
And it used to make my stomach sick. I'm like, you're crying. I will give you a cup of water and shut the door on you. That is the worst thing you can do for people, yo. They like, you just really? I was like, give you some tissue, a cup of water, and be like, wow. I remember telling one of my girlfriends, I said, baby, you look like a blowfish when you cry like that. She said, what the fuck, Lee? I said, it was supposed, the way I heard it in my head. You know what? I'm going to get you some water. That's what I'm going to get you some water. You want something to eat? I'm going to feed your sadness. No, you don't want to eat? Because your heart broken, right? My heart don't work like that. So.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Just, I tell people, I want to help people. I want to love on people, but I'm very particular about the people that I allow to love on me.
Yeah.
But the one thing
gotta be.
But I'm not flaky with my love.
Right.
And I think that sometimes that's like one of the traits. Well, more Aquarius men than women. Aquarius men different. They really are. They're a little different. They're a little different. I love them, but y'all a little different. But I really tried my very best to eliminate any fake love in my life.
Okay.
And that can be disheartening to new relationships.
Yeah.
And some of it's because I've been with my husband so long, I don't have to exercise that part of me. Like I'm not out here trying to date or trying to attract men. So like I always tell people, since I was 4, I'm not the girl who gets dressed up because I think a guy's going to think I look good.
Right.
I'm looking. If a woman tell me I'm looking good,
right, then
I might flirt with you a little bit. So what you? I know we both straight, but we go to lunch together. But that means something to me because when don't let an older Black woman compliment me.
Ain't it the best? Ain't it the best? And when she call you baby. Yeah.
But that, so like to me, it's so comforting having this conversation with you. Because like I said, to everybody listening, right? So a lot of the things we talk about, major influences, the power of conversation, truth, embracing vulnerability, breaking down barriers, learning from others, self-reflection and compassion of others. If you work in those spaces, you open yourself up to so much love and so much honesty. And the people who come to you, yes, you can attract brokenness, but you attract brokenness with the potential for healing.
That's right. That's right.
And I think that when you, in my stoic stage, I attracted brokenness with the fix me gene. That's it.
Yes.
And I didn't want to continue like that, because I said, what happened when I'm broken? Because when I was broken, it was really hard. I had like 2 friends who really could like step in and say, bitch, you need to cry.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, what you mean? Because you know, when you haven't cried for a long time, as the tears start, it feels like you're being stabbed.
Yes.
And I was like, is that my tear ducts?
Yes.
I'm like, I don't like that one.
Yes.
Between the tears and the runny nose.
Yes.
I said, bitch, you broke me.
Right.
You fucking broke me.
Right.
Now I gotta go through. I said, I gotta go through this. I'm a thug. No, you're not. You ain't no damn thug.
Little single thug tear falling. Yeah, no, and even like giving myself permission to cry. And I notice like I can feel it coming. And I'm not in the habit the way that I want to be in the habit, because I'll still fight it. But there was a couple times during this interview where I was like, okay, here she comes. She about to start.
You fought it back. I saw you. You said,
and then I was
you took a little sniff. You was like, we're not going to do that right now. I did my makeup. I put on some lip gloss.
And I'm like, I'll what's this 2023? Oh, I'll be 50 next year. I've gotten to that place where.
Where you going? You going on a vacation? You gonna go on a retreat?
I want to do another birthday party. So I don't know.
You could do it when you do your karaoke.
I know I want. So when I turned 40, I had a 40 shorty birthday party, and it was.
I came.
It was an amazing.
I was invited. Yes, I came. Me and my husband came.
Yes, and so I want to do that again.
Okay.
So I'm giving people, and not even to celebrate, because it's not, my birthday parties are not about me. My birthday parties are really about the people that I love, the time of their fucking life.
Yes, we danced a lot. We was high.
That's what I want for people. I want people to have, like, for them to go home and be like, I need some Tylenol, some Bengay, and possibly a BC. Like that's what I need to recover.
Well, you definitely damn well need a BC, because some of these drinks, they're not cut. I'm like, that's not a real drink. Who made this up?
Baby. And so that, and then what I really would love to do is be on a beach with either pink sand or black sand. Like one of the two of those.
Then you need to go to Costa Rica.
Costa Rica,
we got to be on the black sand beaches, and we got to be on the white sand beaches. And I will tell you that if ever I move out of this country, it will be to Costa Rica, because the people were so kind.
Really?
And it was humbling in a way of the showboatiness of living here.
Okay.
It wasn't that they weren't showboating. They were, okay? But it's just that you live off the land. What you got is what you have.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? When you enter a space where your spirit feels calm, when you take your shoes off and you stand in it, and the ground feeds you.
Yeah.
It was so, it was great, because I remember going to St. Lucia, and I thought I was going to feel that. And I think St. Lucia was the first time I went somewhere where people who looked like me, they were questioning me. And it was because I was in a tourist area. Okay. And at that time, my real hair was about this big. It was and I stepped off of that fucking boat with big ass afro hair and a long flowy sundress. I mean, I was kissed to the gods. It was just me, all natural.
Yeah.
They were trying to touch my hair. The older people were trying to touch me, because they thought I had money, because it was a guy who rode us around, and he was amazing. Like, he was our tour guide the whole time we were there. He was a cab driver. He was like, just call me, I'll come pick you guys up. Okay. And we took us to the local, because I'm one of those people. I go on vacation. I want to eat where you eat. Yeah. I don't want this shit over here. I want to eat where you eat. And he said, we're not used to seeing Black women who look as free as you are with Black men. because my husband was with me. He said, we're used to seeing women like you get off with white guys or somebody from a different, and being on the outside of the United States gives you perspective. He wasn't even being rude.
Right.
So when they see a Black man and a Black woman together, they think you got something, like something great is happening.
Wow.
And my mind was blown. That was like in 2010.
Wow.
And because as the guy, like sometimes you hear something and you like, but he took us into like an off area where you could maybe get like earrings from the locals who made the earrings, but not touristy.
Right.
Like literally the earrings were like $2-3. It was little stuff like that. And it was this older woman. I mean, I want to say probably easily like 90-ish. And she just kept following me. And initially my spirit was like, what? Because, to protect yourself, like, what? And then after a while, it calmed down.
Okay.
And the guy said, she thought you were a movie star because you had a Black husband. And I said, you see my husband. I'm like, he's a Black light-skinned man. Like, he's just a Black light-skinned man. Like, he my Black light-skinned man and don't fuck with him, but he's Black light-skinned man.
Yeah.
But it was just, but even my girlfriend who went with me, who's from Puerto Rico, her husband was Black. And they were just like, it was almost like revered, and it scared me. I did, because you don't know what the perception on the outside is. It's like when I went to Jamaica, it was a guy who he was like, where are you from? And I said Maryland. And then he started trying to speak vernacular and I was like, listen, sir, I'm going to tell you, for the whole 7 days that I'm here, you're going to be very shocked, okay? Because I'm all the stereotypes that you want. The only thing that I have available to you is that I'm a Black woman.
Right.
Everything else is just life. Right. I'm not going to argue with you about good or bad. I'm not going to argue with you about Black and Black.
Right.
I said, yo, you want me to argue with you about struggling?
Right.
Who struggle more?
Right.
I'm not. I'm going to love up on you. I'm already having a hard time accepting the fact that Black people have to serve me. Right. I don't like it. Yeah. Okay. So if you see me, know that I'm probably going to be cleaning the table or some shit to help you out because I can't fucking handle it. But it was one of those things. So I'm like, go to Costa Rica was wonderful. St. Martin was wonderful.
Really?
It was good because you had half the area is like French and the other is Dutch. Okay. So you have the option to be a little risque or super family oriented. Okay. And the beaches, the beaches were, it was journal worthy. Ooh. Like some people no, when you sit down and you self-reflect, you're digging in. You're like, you come back like, I need to travel more because I can't live like this. Right. Ocean City water, my God. No, but do you just have those places where you just feel a little more connected to? I love places that are lush, where trees talk to you. Yeah. Where the ground feels like it's alive. And I can see you absolutely just like spending some time just feeling it. Yeah. Still partying because they party. Okay. I didn't party like that. I said, I don't know. How does your liver drink that? How does your liver last this long?
Yeah, I'm not even drinking.
I said, no, I can't live like this. And I was like, that was in my early 30s. Right. But at 47, a glass of wine, and we need to sit it down.
Just one for me, please.
I do. And I'm like, and I don't even drink that often. It's like maybe every couple of weeks if we go up. And it has to be a special occasion because I'm like, I don't like the way I feel when I wake up. Right. I don't like the way. Why am I dehydrated? Right. So no. Hot flashes and dehydration.
That don't work.
Middle finger to everybody. No. But I mean, but I'm just saying, I hope you get to find like a nice retreat. You would do wonderful on a nice retreat where you got to like meditate and sit and be in you. and
Yes.
focus only on you.
Yes.
That's what you need.
I definitely, oh, honey, I need so much of that. I need so much of it.
I think you're finding it though. Those epiphanies, as the epiphanies, when they start happening the way they're happening for you,
Yeah.
you're getting so close to your center self.
Okay.
It's so close to your center self, but you have to flesh yourself out though.
Okay.
And that's hard because there's some things about all of us that you're like, have I always been like this? And if I've been like this, is my reality real? Like, it's just, you start asking, because now you're like, was I, like you said earlier in our conversation, was I being phony? No, you were. And what I wanted to say to you at that time was, your future self was saving your life. So like, that's what I had to go back and realize. Every time I talk about future self, your future self knows what it's going to take you to get to this place that you need to be. Yeah. And if you derail that, that's like ignoring your intuition. If you realize when you ignore your intuition, fucked up shit happens.
Yeah.
And like you say, you're off your path.
Yes.
But if your future self is leading you, you got it. It's certain. You couldn't have shown up as your broken self and made it through that time.
Right.
So sometimes you needed to be cloaked so that you could fight through that energy that you were going to be receiving. And now you're at a space where you can maturely accept who you are. And it's scary because it's like, I kind of like her, but does that mean I have to discard who I was before? And no.
Right.
No.
Right.
Because you needed her to be who she was, so that when you are who you are in this present moment, you have good reflection. You can be like, okay, so I want to subtract this part, I want to keep this part, and I want to add this part. And then you keep building. And that's what I see you doing.
Okay.
You working it out. That beautiful smile. That's the smile, y'all. Every time we used to see each other, she would smile at me with her shoulders. And I'd be like, yo, don't smile at me with your shoulders if you don't want me in your space. And that's the thing. So, look, I'm like, I don't want to take up all your night because, wash our faces off, be all up in the bed. But I just want you to know how absolutely, like, I was ecstatic to speak with you because I know how kindred I feel like our spirits are connected to each other.
Yeah.
But after us having this conversation, I feel thirsty to see you grow.
Yeah.
I want to like absorb it. I want to be a part of this growth that you have. But I see you opening up.
You saying so whenever it airs, because there are things that you are saying that are aligned with even thoughts that I've had just today before this recording. So you
coming out next week. You coming out next week.
Spirit is just moving through you, baby. Just saying all of the things. And I'm like, yep. And so my theme, readiness and obedience. So readiness.
That's what this podcast, you just named it.
Yes, readiness.
You literally just named. Wait a minute, give me my pen. Just named it.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, she really on here right? And yes, I am.
Everything that, especially in the last 3.5 years that I've been experiencing, the messaging is getting more consistent. There's a quickening that's happening. Like I was experiencing something right before this, and then you came on and you said, I'm like, okay, all right, Spirit, I hear you. I promise you, I hear you. I promise.
Is your spirit aggressive? Because my spirit's aggressive. It's aggressive after a while.
A little bit too quiet for my life.
Mine's aggressive. Yeah. I think that's me. I think that's DMX reincarnated. It'd be like barking at you. Just you. And
I'm saying to myself, like, yo, do you really want them yelling in your ear? Like, is that really what you want? Because I feel like they've been on some old, no, baby. Okay, all right. Here, you see that over there? That's your sign. That's your sign, baby. And I'm like, oh, that's my sign. That's it over there. That right there. That's the sign. And they looking at me like, yes, baby. Yes, that's your sign.
So, oh, why are you so soft? Because we need patience right now and grace.
Yeah.
Well, who told you that?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I have oh, this was so good. This was so good.
When I started this podcast, I was very fearful. I started it in 2021 initially, and I felt like an imposter. I felt like I'm like, why are you doing this? Why you don't belong here? This isn't a space for you. This is not what we do here.
Yeah.
And I had to really fight through that.
Yeah.
And this year I said, over the summertime, I said, I'm going to start this podcast over because I have a different idea of myself. I have a different view of myself. I said, and I feel spiritually called to do so.
Yeah.
And I don't ignore when the spirits talk to me. That's different. Spirits and ancestors, them motherfuckers aggressive. I don't like the way and they think that they funny, but it's not funny. Like I tell people all the time, I'm like, don't ask God for anything. Stop. His sense of humor is not funny. It is very forward. I don't want to work anymore. Boom, accident. Nope, that's not what I mean.
Right.
No,
I did not. That's not what I said.
Just you was listening wrong. You was listening wrong. So, but I said I wanted to do that, and I said I was going to start on August 1st, and I was going to really work very hard. And you're going to be my finale. You're my 15th podcast. You're my 15th podcast. And I said, I'm going to do 15 shows. That's what I told my husband. I said, I'm going to do 15 shows. I said, and I want to do 15 shows with a diverse group of people. Yeah. And I really want to have conversations that help teach people that we're not different.
Yeah.
The language may feel different. Right. The faces may look different. Right. We're so close. And the things that divide us are the things we allow to divide us. And it doesn't have to.
Right.
You know? Right. So I said, so my 15, and you're my last for the season. And then I'm going to start back again in November. So I was like, when you said, I was like, it was divine intervention of us not having it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I was like, I told my husband, I said, Ellen's going to be number 15. And he was like, for real? I said, yes.
The getting better at, because in the moment, I don't like letting people down. Like I'm like,
I'm with you.
I do my best. I'm like, nope. I said I was going to do it. And life has shown me over the last 2 years, it's all working out.
It is.
It's all working out. I promise. It don't feel like it. I can't see around the corner 2 blocks. I can't see it. And has it ever not worked out?
Let's talk about that. Has it never, what's this? What I always say, but are you alive though?
Right.
Did you make it? Are you dead though?
Right.
It worked out. And my thing is, if it doesn't work out, or if somebody has a nasty visceral reaction, I wasn't supposed to do it.
That's right. That's right.
And that's how I look at it. I'm like, it's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Because truthfully, I recorded one podcast and my audio was acting up, and I sent the person a message and said, can I please redo it? And she never responded. But our interaction wasn't the best interaction in general. Right. And I said, you know what? I'm not supposed to do this.
That's right.
And you're the reason why.
Yeah. Yeah.
You was number 15.
Life makes sense in reverse. I've been saying that for about 2.5 years now. Life makes all the sense in reverse. You'd be like, oh, boom. Okay. All right.
It is. That's why I keep saying, I'm like, listen, peeps. So season 2 is going to be happening. If you want to be up on here talking about things.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel so blessed, honestly. I feel like my spirit, it's so energized. Yeah. It's so energized, and not in I need to do things way. It's like It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Take your time.
Yes.
But it's still in DMX's voice. I'm not gonna lie. It's barking. I'm like, yo, that's a lot. That's a lot. I'm like, Southern rap may need to not be my thing. I don't understand, but I'm like, Bun B might be too much for me right now. Like, it's just too much for me right now. Just I was like, ooh, okay, all right, 3-6 Mafia, we're not doing it. Whatever. But yeah, we were supposed to meet. I thank you so much for coming and talking to me. I really like from the bottom of all of my hearts, all 4 of them in there, because the personalities be busy.
Yeah.
I truly just adore your person. Like, I adore your spirit. And I thank you. And I hope you have a good night.
The feeling is mutual.
Thank you so much. And I will talk to you soon. Bye. I love this.
Oh, this is so good.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you found some healing, connection, and joy. Until next time, bye, loves.